Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to show 184 with yours truly, the hippie pastor. Here I am. How are you? Anyway, the name of this show, 184, the topic of this show is anti-Semitism. What is anti-Semitism? I'm sure most of us know that anti-Semitism is a law, right? I believe it was, it's an anti-Jewish law, also anti-Israel included. It's a discrimination against Jews, and being prejudiced against Jewish people, and like I said, many cases also against Israel in general. And I believe that the these laws, Semite laws, came to effect, I'm not, between 1920 and 1940, a long time ago, right? So it's an international law. So you can get prosecuted for being an anti-Semite. You're breaking the law. I believe it's an international thing. Interesting, huh? Such a small, tiny country, kind of like rules the world in that sense. Right? I'm not justifying the tragedy that happened in Nazi Germany of the extermination of Jewish people, which is not right to exterminate any kind of people. But now it seems like the Jewish Israel is hell-bent on exterminating the Palestinians in a way that they were exterminated themselves. I don't know to what magnitude, but it's a sad situation. But my question is, like I was saying before, God does not have a chosen nation, a special nation. God's chosen people is the entire planet on equal basis. To say different is it's what do you call that? It's hate. It's just it's racism. Okay, so I'm not saying that anybody here is celebrating what Hitler did to the Jewish people. That's such a terrible thing, but that doesn't justify that they should do similar activities, bringing death and destruction in the name of their God or their religion or their belief and justification, right? Because if you think about it, they are not the only nation on the planet that suffered grand, exterminations and deaths and, massacres, okay? Without going too far, what about the Africans, the black slavery, right? When the white man went to Africa and started making slaves of these black people, Africans, taking them to Europe, taking them to North America as slaves. And I tell you, in case you did not know, many people wonder how come a lot of black African Americans are so angry, or because even the fathers of the nation were involved in the business of slavery. All those faces you see on the different dollar bills. A lot of them people, if not all, were slave masters, were into the slave industry. And the slavery that the African Americans went through was one of the worst, one of the most cruel slaveries and, massacres and cruelty and torture and such unjustified activity, like worse than animals they were treated. That's why you have it, you have now, it's time to pay the fiddler. It's payback time. Look what the African Americans went through, right? The suffering and being nobody, being nothing, adopting names of their masters raping their wives, etc., in extreme punishments if they tried to escape, and all this stuff. So the suffering that the black African Americans and Africans in general went through by the white man is, then we got apartheid in South Africa. I mean, then we got the Aborigines there who were also enslaved and chained, with chains around their neck and, made into slaves. So a lot of different nations, not just Israel, went through, terrible suffering. So how come we don't have the African Americanism, anti-African Americanism legalized around? Racism is legalized, I believe, around the planet, but to the extreme, like anti-Semitism. Anti-Semite. I mean, how come they don't? It's specified in the laws of the planet. Then we got. Let's changing the subject. Let's take a tour of nations who have suffered such extreme, horrible extermination. As similar to the Holocaust. Some of them a lot worse, like Hiroshima. Right, the bomb that destroyed Hiroshima and Nagasaki, in the Second World War was not necessary because the Japanese had already surrendered, but they just wanted to try out. The U.S. generals wanted to try out the bomb to see the extent of damage and destruction that it was capable of performing. Which, even till today, people are dying of cancer. I mean, how many millions died in Hiroshima, right? So why don't we have, the anti-Japanese law specified, as a legal law in the planet? And okay, and then let's go to the Vietnam War and Cambodia. Till this day, the mines still are maiming children playing in the rice paddies and the rice fields. Step on these mines that were left behind because when the United States was bombarding, Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, the airplanes could not come back to base without with a full load. They had to empty the load. They had to just throw the bombs. Before landing back in home base, they had to empty the plane of all bombs. So there's still like mines and suffering. The Iraq War. How many civilians died in the Iraq War? So why don't we have anti-Iraqism? Anti-Iraqism. How come anti-Iraqism is not a law punishable by the legal system in the entire planet? Okay, not just anti-Semitism. We're just saying, oh, they're special. Nobody should touch them, and that's true. Nobody should touch them, but nobody should touch anybody else. We all have equal rights. Okay. Okay. Let's continue. I know you're not tired. The Native Americans, the Apaches, the Fakawis, the Mohicans, the Sioux. All the different tribes, Cherokees of North America and South America, Central America, the Mayans, the Incas, and all the enslavement and torture and death and destruction that was given to them. Especially, I'd say, I'm more familiar with the North American, extermination of the Native Americans, and they were put in reservations and massacred, okay, in a very cold and cruel manner. So how come we don't have anti-Native Americanism as a law in the planet to talk bad about them or to whatever and declare it as a punishable law by the legal system? The Russians in World War II. They took the blunt of Germany, and if it wasn't for the Russians, we probably wouldn't have won the World War II, because how many Russians died fighting the Germans in the cold and the freeze? Thousands upon thousands, if not millions. I mean, a lot of Russians died, and so how come we don't have anti-Russianism, as a legal law in the planet? Why just Semitism? Why not? And then to finalize this discourse, how about the Palestinians that are being exterminated, and were exterminated in the Old Testament, because before they were called Palestinians, they were called Philistines. What about, Samson the bully? Samson the bully, he killed 1,000 Philistines with the jawbone of an ass. What an ass, what a bully. And how come we don't have anti-Palestinianism as a law, or anti-Chinese, as a law punishable? Well, we have racism is a law around the planet, but why specify, okay, the Jews are special? No, everybody's special, so there should be anti-cruelty, destruction to all nations the same, okay? And then, yeah, sure, anti-Semite, but nevertheless, the Semites are going around now dealing deaths and destruction to children and women. And where's the law defending the Palestinianism, anti-Palestinianism? How come every nation, we should all be the same and have the same equal rights? I love you with the love that characterizes my personality. I'm not offending anybody. I have love for everybody. You treat me with respect, I'll treat you with respect. Adios. See you till next time. It's your hippie pastor signing out for now.